So the NBA trade deadline was yesterday. I've been meaning to try to make this video. Obviously, I'm just a normal guy who makes videos on the internet, so I work a regular job too. Obviously, like, gotta pay the bill somehow. But I love making these videos. I love talking to y'all about this kind of stuff, and y'all been checking me out a little bit more lately. I got my subscribers up. I'm kind of happy. I just hit 300 today or yesterday or last night. I just hit 300. So thank y'all for all the new people coming to watch my videos and stuff. I appreciate that. But, you know, today I'm just thinking, and yesterday I've been thinking, and I just can't get, over everything that's going on right now in the NBA. The NBA really just went from 0 to 100 like that, man. It was crazy. So I want to talk about basically what I seen yesterday and what I think is interesting out of all the trades that were made. 'Cause not every trade is interesting, but we did have a couple that got me going like, oh yeah, this is fire. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into those real quick. Starting with the D'Angelo Russell to the Los Angeles Lakers, Mike Conley to Minnesota, and Russell Westbrook to Utah. So, the Los Angeles Lakers received Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt. Minnesota got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Mike Conley, and 3 second-round picks. And the Utah Jazz received Damian Jones, Juan Toscano Anderson, Russell Westbrook. And the Lakers received and they also sent the 2027 first-round pick. The Lakers did to Utah. It's a top 4 protection and turns into a 2027 second-rounder if not conveyed. So, if the pick, falls within the top 4, then the Lakers get to keep it. And if it falls outside the top 4, Utah gets it. So that's going to be interesting because, that's so far away from here. We're talking about a Lakers squad that probably doesn't have LeBron. Probably doesn't, because we don't know when that man's going to retire. Anthony Davis, if LeBron's not there, I wouldn't be surprised if AD is in there. Honestly, at some point, I think AD going to end up in Chicago or in New York. I believe that's going to happen at some point in his career. We'll see. The Knicks got to get their stuff together. But let's just kind of talk about that trade and basically what's going on there. Because I predicted this a while ago. I kept saying that the Minnesota Timberwolves need to get rid of D'Angelo Russell and that he's not fit for this team. He's not the leader of this team that needed. It's not that I don't like D'Angelo Russell, because I do like D'Angelo Russell. But him and Anthony Edwards, they don't make a good backcourt. And I don't know what it is. Like, they both like the ball in their hand to some extent. Like, Anthony Edwards is somewhat of a ball hawk. Like, he just has the ball in his hand constantly. He's not a good playmaker. I said that in my Timberwolves video. If y'all haven't seen that video, go check it out. But I was very low on the duo of D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. But I do like Mike Conley for Anthony Edwards. I think that Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards will fit really good together because Mike Conley is more of a pure point guard. He's more of a leader than D'Lo was. He's not like a Kyle Lowry or a Chris Paul type leader, even though he's somewhat comparable to them. I really like Mike Conley's fit. Plus, he already knows Rudy Gobert well. He played with him for like 3 years in Utah. I think this could be a really good fit for them. And I think that, under normal circumstances, this might have elevated them, but we all know the West just got real wild again. They're called the Wild Wild West, and it's real wild out there right now. But I'm going to speak more on that later. So I like that trade for Minnesota. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I thought he could be a good player. I don't think he's a good player at all. So, he doesn't really add anything. Maybe they can figure something out with him. But so far, he isn't. Like, he's not that guy right now. He's not a great role player. He's just another guy. He's a jag. And finally, Malik Beasley also was a part of that deal. And Jared Vanderbilt was also part of that deal. I know I already talked about D'Lo, but the Lakers got a package in this deal. They basically got everything they need to, compete, because Malik Beasley is a very good player in terms of shooting. He can go out there and play. He can shoot and score the ball. He's another guard, so they got a ton of those, but he's another guard who can get buckets. So, hey, buckets help. And they also added Jared Vanderbilt, who's a big and can play next to Anthony Davis. And we've seen what Jared Vanderbilt did in Minnesota last year. Utah, I didn't watch a lot of Utah games. Who watches Utah anymore? But Jared Vanderbilt, he was really good for Minnesota last year. So I like the additions of those guys as well. The Utah Jazz, they're not trying to be good. They've been trying not to be good all year. They're doing everything in their power just to make their team worse. I'm surprised they didn't trade Lauri Markkanen, honestly. I'm very surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade him in the offseason. But Lauri is fairly young. Maybe they feel like he can be a part of this young core. But yeah, Utah Jazz is not trying to win. They don't care about winning. They're going to fall in the standings in the second half. After All-Star break, they're probably going to finish the season like at the 12 or 13 seed because the Lakers are going to move up in the standings. Yeah, so, I mean, the Utah Jazz are doing what the Utah Jazz want to do. They're trying to be bad. They're not trying to be a good team. So, it doesn't surprise me that they moved off of Mike Conley, who's clearly better than any player that they bring in. No offense to Russell Westbrook, but Russell Westbrook is not going to make this team better than Mike Conley. Overall, he's not going to be the guy like that. And honestly, I don't think they're going to keep him. Rumors said that they might keep him, but let's keep it a buck. They're going to get rid of Westbrook. So, yeah, pretty decent trade or whatever. I think the Los Angeles Lakers won this trade. I think they got a lot of good pieces. And, yeah, I like this trade for every team, even Utah, because they're accomplishing their goal of being a bad team. So, yeah, let's move on and talk about another trade, which was very interesting to me because this one caught me off guard because of the team he went to. I knew that James Wiseman has not been with the Golden State Warriors thought he was. They thought he was him. He ended up not being him. He ended up being Fugazi. He was just another guy, a jack that they wasted the second pick on. They shouldn't have been, flaking on my boy LaMelo. They should have drafted LaMelo like they said they was going to do it. So they got punished for that. Even though they won a championship, I mean, their future would have been a lot brighter with LaMelo. As we can see, LaMelo's, to me, the best player in that draft, hands down. But, hey, that's just my opinion. That's just me. But let's talk about James Wiseman heading to Detroit. Saddiq Bey went to Atlanta, and Gary Payton II went to Golden State. Now, this trade is somewhat in jeopardy of going back because Gary Payton failed his physical. But, I mean, they knew what they was getting. It was a trade deadline move. So I really don't see this trade falling through. But, I mean, y'all knew what y'all was getting. Y'all had to have known. Like, don't make this move at the trade deadline if y'all don't want it. Y'all should have been having all these details straightened out. I had to be talking way before the deadline to make a move. It's not like you just called them up the same day. It was like, hey, y'all want Gary Payton II back? No, y'all been talking for days. Come on, Golden State, get your stuff together. Atlanta getting Saddiq Bey, whatever. Saddiq Bey, 3-point shooter, 3-and-D type of player, yada, yada, yada. Atlanta's not going to do much with that. They got a bunch of these guys who are supposed to be built like that. Saddiq Bey is a good player. I'm not saying he's not. He's an all-right player. I wouldn't say good. Whatever. Saddiq Bey is something. He's another guy who can do something on the basketball court. The most interesting thing in this is James Wiseman, because what makes this interesting, and I somewhat don't like him ending up in Detroit, is because Detroit got a lot of bigs on the roster, and you're just adding another big who needs playing time to develop. Like, they already got Marvin Bagley II. They already got Jalen Duran. They already got Isaiah Stewart. And now you add James Wiseman. It's like, yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of, not getting out of Detroit, but I'm glad he's getting out of Golden State. But is Detroit really the spot for him? I'm not sure about that. I just don't know, for real. Golden State getting Gary Payton II is whatever. And the Portland Trailblazers got Kevin Knox. And, bro, who's Kevin Knox, bro? I forgot that, man. I didn't know he was still in the NBA, fam. Like, I did not know this. I guess he's been buried on Atlanta's bench or something, but I didn't know Kevin Knox was still in the NBA. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say anybody really won this trade because none of these guys are really going to move anything. Like, they're not going to be the reason these teams do much better. Like, they're not moving the needle for these teams. They're just another guys for them. No offense to none of them. I mean, they all watch me in a game, but they're just regular guys in the NBA. So I just thought it was interesting because James Wiseman finally got to go to State. But I don't like that he ended up in Detroit. I'd rather him end up in like Charlotte, because Charlotte need more big man, springy big man. And I'm not saying that James Wiseman is a bum, because I just don't know what he is. He's been injured and he just didn't fit in Golden State's system, which he never was going to, because Golden State didn't use their bigs in the way that not that James Wiseman would have been good at. He was never going to be utilized properly in Golden State. But I just thought it would be interesting to talk about his trade. Another very interesting trade was the Mo Bamba to the Los Angeles Lakers trade, because that was something else. Lakers needed some front court depth. They was really weak in the front court. I mean, you really only had AD and Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant, he's a big man, but he's like finesse type of big man. AD's already finesse, so your bigs were soft. They were, cotton candy soft. Those dudes were not built like that for real in the front court. Like, we know AD can ball, but he's a finesse baller. He ain't no dog like KG was. He wasn't that. But, you know, AD's good defensively. I'm not trying to knock AD. I'm just saying, like, they didn't really have no dogs. Now, Mo Bamba ain't no dog, but at least he like 7'4". And, I mean, I somewhat like the move for him. I mean, obviously, Jared Vanderbilt is going to be better next to AD. I hope that's who they start next to AD is Jared Vanderbilt, because I like Jared more than I like Mo. But at least it's somewhat interesting. Add some size. I mean, he blocks shots, he hits three and stuff like that. So theoretically speaking, could be something. So that's something there. Then you also got Bones Highland heading to the Clippers for 2 second-round picks, bro. Now, I'm not saying Bones Highlands is him, but what I am saying is I think the Clippers got to steal, because Bones Highland at least proved that he's an NBA level player with some potential. He can score. He's a hot shooter. Boy can play. I mean, obviously he's inefficient. He's young. He's a lot of things, but they can hide him in the Clippers, and they got a lot of time to work with him. And I love Lou. I love like Lou for as coach, Tyrone Lue for coaching, and I mean that's a really good move for the Clippers. The Clippers really loaded up. I mean, the Clippers went ahead and got Eric Gordon and Mason Plumlee. I'm not going to talk about their trades, but the Clippers got them too. Like, the Clippers are trying to do something. I mean, it's not going to really matter, but they're trying, because, you know, it's not going to matter because Paul George and Kawhi never are healthy. So they're just going to be injured and something's going to go wrong because they're the Clippers. They're cursed. But I think it's a good move. Adds another young piece, and it's not going to cost them much. And honestly, when his contract comes up, then I probably won't have to pay him very much. I mean, he can be the next Lou Williams for him. He really could be. So, hey, you know, nice move for the Clippers. Other less significant moves that was somewhat interesting during this trade deadline was the Bucks getting Jay Crowder. That was somewhat interesting. I mean, he could be their what's that guy who plays in the 76ers? He used to be good. He's not good anymore. PJ Tucker. They can be his PJ Tucker. So PJ Tucker was very significant during their championship run, and maybe Jay Crowder can fill the role that he once had. I think that Jay Crowder is a PJ Tucker type of player, but better offensively, not as strong defensively, even though he's a pretty good defender. I think he could be a helping piece for a veteran team like the Bucks. The Thunder got Dario Saric. I hope they buy my man's out. I hope he eventually makes his way back to Philly, because I love me some Dario Saric. But ever since Philly traded him, they traded him to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then he was traded from Minnesota to Phoenix, and he just never was the same. Like, he never fit in Phoenix. He was actually pretty good for the Timberwolves for the short time he was there, but since he's been in Phoenix, no, he actually never played for the Timberwolves, did he? I'm tripping. He never played for the Timberwolves because he was traded for no, he did play for. I'm not positive. It just seems like he was good for the Sixers. I thought he could be good for the Phoenix Suns and other teams, and he just never materialized. He never became the player that I thought he can be. The player that he was before he got traded. Like, he was good in Philly. Like, he was that third guy in Philly. So I want more for Dario Saric. I hope he goes back to Philly. I wouldn't be mad if he ends up in Milwaukee or, you know, even Boston or somewhere. But Dario Saric is a good player. His efficiency is still really good. He just doesn't get the minutes. I mean, he's not a great defender or whatever, but he's a pretty solid playmaker from the floor. He can play a little bit of three. You can use him as a small ball center. He has some playmaking chops. He can shoot the ball fairly well. I like Dario Saric, so I hope things work out for him, and I hope the Thunder buy him out, because honestly, I think he's too good to be on the roster. Thunder trying to lose games, and they got a ton of young players. He's not young anymore. He's like almost 30, so let my man free. You know, the Knicks got Josh Hart, and that's whatever. Denver Nuggets got Thomas Bryant after the Lakers got Jared Vanderbilt and Mo Bamba. Thomas Bryant wanted to get traded. They ended up trading him to Denver, and Denver got a backup center, arguably the best backup center in the NBA probably. So that's pretty good for them. And then finally, Portland, please free my boy Damian Lillard. Let my man go. He doesn't need to be there anymore. Y'all just added Cam Reddish and Matisse Thybulle. Y'all building this team for Shaedon Sharpe and Fernie Simmons. Why are y'all wasting my boy Damian Lillard's time? Because we know this team is being built for the future. Y'all adding nothing but young players, and y'all got rid of the veterans like Gary Payton and Josh Hart. Y'all not trying to win, bro. Just free Dame. Free my man. Man, my dude over there serving life for Portland. Portland ain't doing nothing for him. I'm not saying that. They gave him loyalty, which because they don't want to trade him because Dame doesn't want to be traded. But just free my man. Let him know that y'all doing it for him, because he needs to go out here and compete. I want to see Dame compete. We have never really seen him because he's been in Portland, bro. And I mean, this team is being younger and younger. I mean, he's only Jeremy Grant. By the time the summer comes, Jeremy Grant's going to be removed from the team. Things are going to happen. So just free Dame. Just tell him, you know, hey, we want to go in a different direction. We want what's best for you. We're going to get you to a contender. And just do him that solid, because at this point, Dame deserves that. Dame really does. The final, you know, trade I'm going to talk about, and I saved this one for last because I know y'all knew I was going to get to it eventually, but I saved it for last for that reason, because I wanted y'all to watch the rest of the video and then get to this part. Let's talk about Kevin Durant to Phoenix. The other day I made a video about how Dallas has a good chance of making the NBA Finals, and you know, out west there's no teams that I'm really too worried about. I was talking like a guy I'm about to talk about in a second, but yeah, I was wrong. I did not expect this. I did not. I woke up, I went to sleep and I woke up, I look at my phone, it said Kevin Durant to Phoenix. I was like, somebody playing a joke, man. Look, wait, what was that? What was that? Oh, no. I woke up stunned. Like, bro, I was reading every article, like how this happened, bro. Why did it happen while I was asleep? How could I go to sleep and this happen? Like, this can't be real. Yeah. Kevin Durant got traded to the Phoenix Suns, him and TJ Warren, and the Brooklyn Nets got Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cameron Johnson, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a 2028 first-round pick swap unprotected. That's all they had to give, and the Phoenix got Kevin Durant. No offense to my boy Mikal Bridges. I like Mikal Bridges, but he's a complimentary player. Cameron Johnson, he's a good player. He's complimentary. They never got Jay Crowder no more. Jay Crowder over there in the Bucks. Those 4 first-round picks, y'all can have those. They're probably going to be mid to late first-round picks because Devin Booker's young. And KD's going to be KD for many years. And DeAndre Ayton is young. And even though DeAndre Ayton hasn't seen eye to eye with Phoenix, he's probably going to be there, or they're going to get some value for DeAndre Ayton. So those picks ain't going to mean nothing. Bro, the Suns became the best team in the West just by adding. Like, he literally just... I know I say this every time KD does something, it's like he always gets a super team. Like, KD's pushing Shaq for having the best teammates of all time. Because now KD's list of teammates go, he had Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Boogie Cousins. Bro has played with some of the best players of all time. Now he's playing with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. Bro, dude, if he don't win a championship... maybe not this year because, you know, injuries and stuff happen. But if they don't get injuries, bro, there's no excuse. Like, the only team that's really competition to him is Dallas and Denver. And this team is clearly better than Dallas and Denver. And there's going to be guys on the buyout market that y'all need to immediately talk to when those buyouts happen. So, yeah, man, this is crazy, man. Is Ja Morant all right? Honestly, I think Ja Morant cool, honestly. And that's, you know, Ja Morant said, you know, he good out west. Is my man cool? Because, you know, I mean, he did get Luke Kennard. We know what Luke Kennard built like. I mean, whew, Memphis, they all right, I guess. You know, it's all good out west. Yeah. Well, that pretty much ends my video. I'll talk to y'all later. You know, have a good one. Hope y'all enjoyed, and peace.